With the recent release of Sonic X Shadow Generations, it made me relive a ton of fun memories, and I've been having a lot of fun completing all the challenges the game has set for the players. A majority of these challenges are, well, challenge acts. You see, these challenge acts are placed in the game as sort of mini-challenges for the main acts of the game, and in Sonic X Shadow Generations, combined with Classic Sonic's 45 missions, Modern Sonic's 45 missions, and Shadow's 30 missions, you have a grand total of 120 challenge acts to play through. Hi, future Dangerboatsouth here, and as it turns out, Shadow's campaign actually got 2 more missions, thanks to the Tokyo DLC based off the third Sonic movie. So instead of an even 120, it's now an awkward 122. Figure I tell you this now because I wrote the script back in November. And although in the base game you only need to do a maximum of 9, and Shadow's campaign you need to do at least all of them, you read the title of the video already. I'm gonna rank through all of them from my least favorite to favorite. The reason why is because I have way too much time on my hands. Before we truly begin, how am I gonna rank them? Well, I do have a few personal goals for each of the challenges in mind. Number 1, is the challenge is unique and it separates from itself from playing the stage normally. 2, is going for the S-rank / collectibles fair and rewarding. And mainly, number 3, is it fun to play through? Not every challenge act is created equal, and some share similarities with other challenges, and I won't go too in-depth with each and every single challenge act. I'll just mention the one general specifics and my personal experiences with them, and hopefully you can share your opinions in the comments below. One last thing, I ain't no speedrunner or crazy glitch hunter, so glitches and exploit won't be taken into account. Also, a majority of Shadow's Acts challenges have these collection keys in at least 20 of the challenge acts, while the other 12 do not have them, but they'll be taken into consideration with the ranking. Alright, without further delay, here is ranking all the challenge acts in Sonic X Shadow Generations, starting with Number 122, High Rise Balloon Climb. Use the big balloons to climb higher and higher to reach the goal in time. I hate this challenge with a burning passion. I don't like waiting in a Sonic game, and this challenge act is just the accumulation of all of it. Sure, you have plenty of time to reach the goal, but the balloon's collision just doesn't exist sometimes, and it takes way too long just to get anywhere. This level is just out to annoy you, and that's all I can really say about it. It's my least favorite one to go through, and it took me an hour just to get an S-rank. Moving on. Number 121, Espio, Master of Camouflage. Only the Searchlight can reveal Espio. Face him and get to the goal in time. These friend missions are common types of missions, and this one is possibly the worst one. The Spotlight's hit detection is really sensitive, and the slightest touch pushes it back. Plus, Modern Sonic doesn't control that well in 2D, and he's just too stiff sometimes. Also, Espio can just be in a very inconvenient place that the homing attack won't even lock onto. Also, the level design is just really tough to maneuver through sometimes. It's not really that fun in the end, but it's not extremely unbearable. Number 120, Planet Wisp Act 1 Doppelganger Race. This is just replaying through this stage as fast as possible, and this is my least favorite level in the game. The main reason is just the controls of the Spike Wisp power-up. It just feels so awkward to use, and the puzzles around it just take way too long to have any fun with it. Also, the stage is just really long. I mean, you can still get the S rank if you take a majority of the shortcuts, but it's still very long. Number 119, Hot Pursuit Modern Sonic. In Speed Highway, chase the sprinkler enemy that is dropping rings, collect a set number of rings, and reach the goal in time. There's this annoying flying machine that drops rings, but it also randomly drops bombs, and it's honestly just random when it does drop bombs, and at the point that you see it, you might as well just restart because there's no point. And most of the time, at the very end, you're just gonna have to grind out the rings anyways, because there's not really enough for you to get it in the short level design that there is. It's just a little frustrating when things don't go your way on this stage. Number 118, Aim and Fire with Chaos Spear, Hard Mode. Destroy the targets with Chaos Spear and break a set number of flying targets and reach the goal in time. This challenge took me 40 minutes the first time. There is so much goddamn stuff to focus on to get to the end. My big issue is the egg flappers that are covered in spikes. Sometimes I can get by them just fine, and other times I can't. Maybe the maximum of the Doom Chaos Spears is just the maximum lock-on of 5, and I can't really seem to memorize where they are at every point in time. When you do get it down, it is satisfying, but the point to actually finish it is really difficult. Number 117, Rouge the Bombarder. Watch out for the bombs Rouge drops to get to the goal in time. My main issue I have is the level design, including these dumb seesaws. They function just fine, but the slightest misstep can make you miss a bounce. Plus, the end section is just frustrating to move around in. Like, I understand the bombs, and it's a cool reference, but it's just, there's so much to maneuver through in such little time. It's annoying. Number 116, Planet Wisp Act 2, Doppelganger Race. Similar reason of not liking Act 1, but the orange rocket with controls a bit better, and there's at least more satisfying shortcuts, but it's just so long. Messing up means you have to go back to the start, and it can be very obnoxious, especially that last 2D section. Number 115, Underwater Challenge. Keep a watchful eye on the underwater terrain and get to the goal in time. Labyrinth Zone was fun in Sonic 1, right? So this challenge act is just a cruel reminder of that zone's existence. Slow, boring, stressful. Only need those 3 words to describe this challenge act in general. Number 114, Knuckles Buried Treasure. Press the action button to make Knuckles dig up medals, collect a set number of medals, and reach the goal in time. It's like the treasure hunting stages in SA2, except not fun at all. Knuckles digging just takes way too slow, and it's not even hard to get in S rank. This mission is just overall boring, and it's likely the first mission that you're probably going to ever get to, considering it's the closest one to the main act and the mainland, so yeah, not really a great start if you're taking on these missions. Number 113, Goalpost Juggle. Don't let the goalpost hit the ground as you can get to the goal in time. It's a neat idea and concept, and it's a nice reference to Sonic 3 and Knuckles, but in this stage in particular, you have to have the high wind in your way, and these also tall platforms that you can't reach back to with a simple jump. If you miss it, you just basically lose because it adds time to your overall count. In the end, it just is very annoying, though with enough patience, you'll get through it just fine. Number 112, Chase After Blaze. Try to catch Blaze before the time runs out, but watch out for the bombs. Similarly to the Doppelganger Race in Act 1 of Planet Wisp, I just hate how the Spike Wisp controls, and Blaze can be really hard to pin down. Thankfully, you only have to hit her once, but if you had to hit her multiple times, this probably would have been a lot lower on the list. Seriously, why is it so clunky to control? Number 111, Underwater Ring Machine in Chemical Plant. Very similar to the one Hot Pursuit mission in Speed Highway, but it's underwater and the machine doesn't drop as many bombs randomly, though it still does, just letting you know. Also, in the end section, it's very easy to collect like 70 rings, so this first part of the challenge is basically just irrelevant. Number 110, Rooftop Run Act 1 Doppelganger Race. Every part of the stage just feels so hard to speedrun. Either it's waiting for the platforms or gambling a spin dash jump. Plus, the timer for the S ring, it feels pretty tight just to finish fast. I should probably mention, going forward, all these doppelganger races are boring. It's just replaying through that act, but faster. Number 109, Which Switch is Which? Flip the various switches to make your way to the goal within the time limit. Some switches are just in dumb places, like the top 2 platforms moving at very fast speed, and also it's just a boring slog of a mission. It's just not satisfying to speed through this one at all. It just wants you to take it slow, and, well, I mean, it's fine in some circumstances. This one just takes so long to actually get through. Number 108, Beware of Spinning Spikes, Hard Mode. Reach the goal in time while dodging a large number of spiked iron balls. This basically looks like any little tiny Mario Maker level that you'll find online. Tons of damn spikes everywhere. Also, the hitboxes are just really whack. Like, what in God's name is this? And also, just what in God's name is this? This is our ending section. It's just annoying. That's all I can really describe it as this one. Number 107, Beware Pillars That Pop Up. Hard Mode. Reach the goal in time without being crushed by the moving pillars. Once again, this one just kind of feels like a troll level. Like, you have to die multiple times to make sure you get a good run, man. Some dumb deaths, too. Like, this one section where there's just a random spike hit right there when you're about to get crushed. And also, this wall jump section is so awkward to get through. Number 106, Swing Set Circus. Use the swings and go up and up to reach the goal in the allotted time. Oh my god, why do I have to wait in all these goddamn time missions? I just want to have fun and run again! It's slow, time-consuming, and just boring. Number 105, Switcheroo. Put your brain to the test by hitting switches to get to the goal in time. Very similar to Which Switch is Which, but This one's a little bit more creative, but adding more switches doesn't make it more fun, it just makes it more confusing. But all the switches are in the same locations and they always change the same way, so it's up to you to figure it out. It's not bad. Number 104, Crisis City Act 2 Doppelganger Race. Every part except the last section just feels unfun to run in. Stomping and boosting in the air can just save some time, but overall it's just meh. I mean, that might be a hot take, but I'm not really a big fan of Crisis City Act 2. Number 103, Rouge the Temptress. Press the action button to have Rouge take out enemies with her wiles and reach the goal in time. Yeah, this is a weird one. I didn't think this was a power that Rouge had, but oh well. You can cheese a ton of sections if you boost properly on the water, but the main mission is just slow and annoying to get through. Especially the last section where you actually have to destroy every single egg pond. Number 102, Orange Rocket Blast Off. Use the orange whip to turn to the orange rocket and reach the goal in time. It's not a bad mission, more like the timer for the mission is really tight. And then the last section with the moving goal is creative, but also a little annoying to get to. You might have to do it a few times to actually get the S rank. Number 101, Crisis City Act 1 Doppelganger Race. I think the first couple of sections are actually pretty fun to romp through, but then there's the high wind section, and I immediately remember why I don't like this stage. And it's also fairly risky to go for some skims, but once you do, it's actually pretty satisfying to get it. Number 100, Charmy High in the Sky. Press the button to call Charmy to create a path so you can reach the goal in time. It's a cool ability, you essentially have infinite jump. But there's just so much stuff to avoid in the last section, like it can just get really tough in some sections. Also, if you fall off of Charmy's gust of wind and fall to the very bottom, yeah, it's not a fun feeling to feel with at the end of the day. 99, Rescue the Animals. Save a set number of captured animals from the capsules and reach the goal in time. You need to break 10 capsules in this challenges, and I swear the lighting of the stage makes it so much harder to see the obstacles. It looks nice, don't get me wrong, but like some of the things, especially the spinning spikes, are just hard to see in some lighting. But that could just be the console I'm playing on's issue. Plus, it could be easy to either undershoot your goal or overshoot your goal and lose some time to get a lower rank. Number 98, Amy Topsy Turvy. Race against Amy while riding the spinning top and beat her to the goal. I personally don't like using this weird spinning platform in Sky Sanctuary. It's just too slow and finicky for how I like to play, and Amy is basically a non-issue. It's just an overall meh level. Number 97, Crush with Surf Spin, Hard Mode. I like how the mission is just to break one capsule in the water and it's at the very end, so it's mostly behaving more like an endurance mission. But also there is just so much obstacles to get through with this one challenge. Like, it almost feels like you have to take damage at some point. Plus, jumping off these ramps shouldn't be nearly as tight as it is. Trust me, it's too tight. Number 96, Beware of pillars that pop up. Unlike the hard mission, this one is mostly easy when it comes to the cheap tricks. Once you fall for it once, you'll probably never fall for it again. But some of the collectibles are pretty tough to get, especially the last one, if you're not prepared for it. It just takes a while to complete, and also winning in a Sonic game is never fun, but overall it's not that bad. Number 95, One Ring Challenge at level 2. Just one ring on this stage. Watch out for damaging spikes and reach the goal. You have one ring, and once again, plenty of dang spike balls. It's not even the hard mode in this one. The collectibles here are actually pretty tricky to grab if you're not being careful, but overall it's fine. You just have to balance being fast and being careful. Number 94, Sky Sanctuary Act 1 Doppelganger Race. It's fun to play through, but there's plenty of risk of falling to either to your death or a lower section that can just ruin an otherwise perfect run. It's not a bad stage, I'm just really bad at it. Number 93, Gondola Master Hard, and number 92, Regular Gondola Master. Run the floating and sinking gondolas to reach the goal in time. These two challenges can be swapped around, but the main issue is just the way the gondola functions. It's really sensitive and you can have a hard time ascending, but either way, one is harder because of design, or one is harder because of the collectibles, and either one of these challenges could be swapped here or there. I just think that the regular mission is a little bit more interesting. Number 91, High-Speed Hijinks in Sky Sanctuary, Act 2. Enemies move and shoot at double speed. Get to the goal in time. These egg robos are so annoying. They shoot so fast, and the hit detection on these lasers just feels really unfair at some points, especially in the 2D sections. but the 3D sections are good enough to not make it awful to play through. Though the last section inside can be a little weird, but that's just me. Number 90, Sky Sanctuary, Act 2, Doppelganger Race. This act just feels really long. The first half is good, but then the second half with all the spinning platforms always gave me trouble. And this one zipline shortcut is just so hard for me to get. I never get it consistent for me. Number 89, One Ring Challenge, Chemical Plant, Act 2. Reach the goal in time with only one ring. And the thing is, the one ring isn't the issue. The more like the level design is just uninteresting and a little cheap in subsections. Again, I don't like how monotone controls in 2D, and I think this stage is just mostly 2D aside from the skydiving section. It's uninteresting, but can be a little weird to control. It's okay. Number 88, Seaside Hill, Act 1, Doppelganger Race. I honestly don't know what else to say. It's a good stage, but it has water physics if you mess up. It also has a lot of waiting for a speedrun. Moving on. Number 87, Espio, Way of the Ninja. Press a button to have Espio attach a rope in the hooks and reach the goal in time. At first, the grappling hook is a little weird to control, but once you realize you can actually swing back and forth and the time limit for the stage isn't that strict, you can actually do a lot of cool skips in this stage. It's not that bad, I actually really like it. It's the better of the two Espio missions, I'll tell you that. Number 86, Goalpost Juggle, number 2. Very similar to the first Goalpost Juggle, but there's no highway to stop you. So I mean, it's better, but it still has the same problem with the high platform. It easily messes up and lowers their time and score. But again, there's nothing else much to say. If you've done the first one with relative ease, you should have less issues with this one. Number 85, Cart Challenge. Ride the cart and get to the goal safely in time. This challenge is alright, though falling to a lower path can be quite painful. Also, landing on the cart can be awkward sometimes, especially when you're above it and you can't really precisely land on it. Homing tech just sometimes just doesn't work, but other than that, the challenge is alright. Number 84, Speed Highway, Act 1, Doppelganger Race. Fine stage to speed through, but I'm just not a big fan of that middle section. It can be really easy to fall off and get the slower path. Actually, I actually barely even know what is the fastest path in this stage. It can be tough to figure out. Number 83, Rite of Spring. There's springs everywhere, and use them to bounce your way up to the goal in time. I like and dislike some portions of these stage. Like, using a certain type of momentum to get to the goal is a neat idea, but maneuvering through a small section with these gun robots can be kinda hard. But overall, it's a fine challenge. It's very harmless. Number 82, Power Stomp Challenge. Use your stomping skills to reach the goal before the time runs out. I actually almost forgot about this challenge in the actual ranking. It's just the Crisis City Act 2 2D section, but with a much more powerful stomp and a pretty fun balloon session at the very end. It's okay. Number 81, Ring Collector Level 2. Collect a set number of rings to reach the goal in time. I either don't get all the collectibles in one run, or I don't get enough rings in one run. There is a good route to actually get through when you use something like Chaos Control, but again, the first time through it can be quite brutal, especially when you actually undershoot your goal, but it's fine. Number 80, Artificial Chaos Counter, Hard Mode. Artificial Chaos are in the arc. Reach the goal within the time limit and defeat a set number of the Artificial Chaos. Aside from the first section being tough to work around, especially when you just don't run forward and you immediately die, it's a fine challenge, and destroying these artificial chaos creatures after years of being nuisances in Sonic Adventure 2 is very satisfying to do. Number 79, Topsy Turvy. Use the horizontal bars and spinning platforms to reach the goal before time runs out. I like how this stage has many assets that they just use in this level, and it just feels like more of a test stage. It's kinda neat, but it also can feel a little cluttered. But it's still fun to run through every now and again. Not difficult either. Number 78, Look Out Below. Reach the goal before the time runs out. Watch out for the crumbling course. This is okay. Like, the crumbling floors are almost never an issue, but the level design is good enough to forget about it. It's not awful, but it's also eh. Number 77, City Escape Act 1, Doppelganger Race. The beginning and middle portion is fun to speed past, especially with precise jumping, but the last section with the skateboard feels really precise. One wrong slip up and you're down to the lower path you go. It's still an overall great stage, I'm just not really great at that, and also it's Doppelganger Race. Number 76, Hot Pursuit Classic Sonic. avoid getting hit by the pursuing enemies, and get to the goal in time. This is the flying pod again, but this time it only drops bombs and you don't need to worry about actually getting the rings. You just have to outrun it. So there is some good strategy of actually hitting the thing and avoiding it properly. It's fine. Not really much else to say. I like the level design in some sections. Oh boy. Number 75, crossover with Doommorph, hard mode. Use the Tower of Doommorph to reach the goal in time. It's a fine stage, it tests your ability with this Doommorph pretty well, but that last jump where sometimes I just magnetically homing attack the blob and it just carries me towards my death can be very frustrating, especially as at the very end of the stage, but I like the level design here, it's not that bad. Number 74, grappling with the grapplers. Avoid the grapplers and mobilizing grasp and get to the goal in time. I like this one because it feels like a good test of the limits of the homing attack in 2D. I really like it. It's pretty fun if you figure out where the right timing the homing attack is and air boosting. Not awful, but it could be a little tough to get it on your first try. Number 73, Chemical Plant Act 1 Doppelganger Race. Yeah, there's not much to talk about this one. It's just fun to skip more of the open spaces, though I can never get past this one water slide skip. I guess I'll just chalk it up to being a skill issue. Yay, Doppelganger races. Number 72, Ring Collector Level 1. It's very similar to the second Ring Collector I mentioned earlier, but there's way more paths to take it, it's way more rewards that come your way. I just like the winding paths compared to the second Ring Collector, where it was very linear. Number 71, Jump Rush. Master the jump handles as you bounce your way to the goal within the time limit, as well as... Number 70, Tails Way Past Fast. Race to the goal against Tails in this airplane, and also... Number 69, Green Hill Act 2 Doppelganger Race. These three challenges are extremely similar. Go fast in the second act of Green Hill Zone. Some challenges have a few differences here and there in the level design, especially in Jump Rush, but overall it's the first level of the game, so it's not too complicated. But it's at least fun to run through. Number 68, Green Hill Act 1 Doppelganger Race. Okay, but this is my favorite version of Green Hill to speedrun. It's just so simple and it's fun to spin, dash, jump over a ton of platforms. Also, yes, this is the last you'll see of Green Hill for quite a while. Number 67, One Ring Challenge 2 with Classic Sonic on Rooftop Run Act 1, as well as One Ring Challenge Level 1 with Shadow on Space Colony Arc. Both these challenges are very similar in nature, but unlike the last One Ring Challenge, the level design is a lot more enjoyable and a lot less unforgiving. Shadow's version is the best because Shadow controls are a lot more fun to play around with. Number 65, High Speed Hijink 2. Similar to the first High Speed Hijink in Sky Sanctuary, but this one's in City Escape. This one's also a lot more fair and not as brutal, but not a big fan of the 2D section, but it's serviceable. Mainly, there's just more 3D to enjoy here, which is what I appreciate more. Number 64, Crossover with Doommorph. Unlike the hard variant of the mission, you're not extremely punished for not knowing the controls. You'll just miss a few of the collectibles. But other than that, it's a pretty average challenge at the end of the day. Number 63, Four-Way Cannon Cavalcade. Go from one four-way cannon to another and get to the goal before time runs out. I like how this utilizes the four-way cannons, which you don't really get to see a lot in these stages. Though, if you want to go fast, you're going to have to be a little bit patient because some of the obstacle requires a lot of waiting. But it's a very unique and fun challenge at the end of the day. It makes the 2D sections of Crisis City feel a little bit more interesting. Number 62, Egg Robo Rush. Reach the goal in time while fending off a bevy of menacing egg robos. This mission is dangerous, but also has a fun feature with these special pull-up bars that you haven't seen in the original act. It also feels like a minigame of sorts. Like, you can risk jumping, but if you get shot, you might plummet to your doom, so be careful. So overall, pretty fun. Number 61, Destroy the Cyclones. Destroy a set number of Cyclones and reach the goal in time. Sometimes the Cyclones are spiky and you have to use Chaos controls to avoid getting hurt, but once Chaos Control deactivates, you have a split second where you hit them again. Also, the collectibles are pretty easy to grab, but they're also weirdly out of the way at some points. It's a simple mission overall, but it can also be pretty painful on your first romp around. Number 60, Cream Helping Hand. The only rings that are the ones Cream drops for you. Get to the goal in time. Similar to the One Ring Challenge, but you can't take too much damage. But the rings that Cream and the Chows carry also fill up your boost gauge, so boost management is also the name of the game here, and I really like that. The level design also reflects a lot more of that sort of, hey, be careful and don't rush along forward. I like how it utilizes the first part of the act instead of, one of the later portions. Number 59, City Escape Act 2 Doppelganger Race. It's similar to the last mission, but it's like the full act and it's fun to run through. I don't know. Coming up with original paragraphs with these doppelganger races is just kind of difficult doing it over and over again. What else do you want me to say? Bibbly bobbly blue? I literally have nothing else to say here. Number 58, the extra Tokyo mission, Ring Collector. Just like the other Ring Collector missions, this one requires you to collect 250 rings before you reach the goal. Although it's a high number, there's plenty of hidden switches that you can use Doom Spears to get more rings, so they blend in pretty well. I like this mission. It's a pretty difficult one. It requires a lot of memorization on your first playthrough, but it's fun to time the Doom Spears and stop at the right time to get some extra rings. Number 57, Resisting Arrest. Beware of the cop speeders. Reach the goal before time runs out. Uh-oh, Sonic got in trouble for illegally trespassing onto private property. Now he's gonna get a lawsuit. It's a fine mission. Also, it's funny to think about the context, or lack of said context. Number 56, Crush with Doom Surf. Unlike the hard variant, this one isn't nearly as strict with the bomb placement, though it's basically impossible to get all the collectibles on S rank in one go. So that sucks, but it's still a fun mission once you're able to handle the controls of the Doom Surf a bit better. Number 55, 200% Boost Gauge Challenge. Your boost gauge is doubled. Use the boost gauge to reach the goal in time. I like the idea of getting more boost and managing well so it doesn't run out, because just hitting enemies and getting rings don't regenerate it. But not only there's a better challenge act later on that does the exact same thing, I also just don't like this area of Sky Sanctuary. It's very tough to maneuver through sometimes. But oh well, I like the Sky Rail reference here. Number 54, Barrel Ring Bonus. Smash open barrels to get rings inside and grab a set number before the time runs out. These barrels are pretty easy to smash, and you have a slight magnetic effect on your collecting rings. But I'm not a huge fan of these slow type missions, but at least it's over very quickly. Number 53, Death Egg Robot Panic Hard Mode. Reach the goal in time while avoiding the interference of the Death Egg Robot. Well, this one's not that hard, it's just kind of boring. The first mission that has this we'll mention later on. It's a little bit more interesting, has a little bit more going on, but this one isn't bad. It's just, well, it could have been a little bit more challenging. Number 52, Charmy, Don't Bug Me. Watch out for Charmy. Reach the goal in time while avoiding Charmy. I really don't associate Charmy with these literal death pranks, but it's a fun mission. You're rewarded for being fast by getting to avoid the pranks. And most of the pranks are shown off well to know what you're getting in for. It's a good mission. It's better than the other ones that you have to avoid obstacles with the friends. Number 51, the Buzz Bomber's Revenge. Beware of Buzz Bombers. Reach the goal before time runs out. It's a simple idea. Buzz Bombers are everywhere and you have to avoid them. The level design is also pretty well put together by chaining the defeats of the Buzz Bombers together. Overall, it's a pretty good level. Number 50, Rooftop Run, Act 2, Doppelganger Race. I love how this stage is structured. It's a fun 2D spectacle moments, and my soft ring enjoys boosting very fast through these corridors. It's simple, yet a very fun speedrun. Number 49, Beware of Spinning Spikes. Yes, there's a ton of spike balls, but there's also plenty of well-timed shortcuts you can easily speed through the challenge act. It also doesn't make you too long, like the hard mode of this challenge. Or maybe I'm just bad, who knows. Number 48, Seaside Hill Act 2, Doppelganger Race. Also a very fun stage with winding paths you have to figure out the fastest way to get to the end. The timer isn't very strict either, but you are rewarded very well by going very fast and getting very creative. Number 47, Invincibility Challenge. Get the invincibility power up to get past hordes of enemies and reach the goal in time. I love it when games have you rush through a level or stayed with invulnerability. It's a very satisfying challenge and it makes certain level designs a little bit more interesting. But I just wish it wasn't in Chemical Plant. The tight corridors and requires you to wait quite a while. But overall, it's a fun test of speed. Number 46, 300% Boost Gauge Challenge. Your boost gauge is tripled. Reach the goal. Yeah, it's the exact same as the 200% Boost Gauge Challenge, but I like the level design here a little more, and 300% is better than 200%. Look at math, being homey yet again. Number 45, High Speed Hijinks with Classic Sonic on Seaside Hill, Act 1. I don't know why this one is my favorite high-speed hijinks. I just like the level design on how everything is much faster here, without being overwhelming. It's fun, but I also don't want to explain why high-speed hijinks is the way it is. I've already explained what it is for the past 2 times, but let's just move on. Number 44, Amy Taking a Leap Together. Press a button to call Amy to get a super high jump to get to the goal in time, as well as... Number 43, Vector Through the Storm. Call Vector with the button to get by spots you can't pass and reach the goal in time. Again, these two challenges are very similar about timing your ascent with your friends to get to the next part of the stage. Either one is in an enclosed space and the other one has enemies and wind. These two are just kind of fun to play through, though both can be changed depending on how well you like the controls of each of the hedgehogs. I like the Vector one a little bit more considering there's a little bit more experimentation involved. Number 42, Aim and Fire with Chaos Sphere. This one didn't take me 40 minutes, and it's far more manageable and actually fire the targets. The last section can be a little disorienting with the rail grinding if you're not careful, but it's a much more enjoyable experience unlike the hard variant. Number 41, Ring Time Challenge. Use ring time to get a set number of rings and reach the goal in time. Just a very satisfying challenge. Just seeing all these machines turn to literal gold. It's never hard, but it's a good one considering the egg robos can be very annoying at some points. Number 40, Rescue the Animals 2. This is rescuing the animals, but it features so much more obstacles. It's almost like a final challenge for classic Sonic missions, which I find pretty cool. Although it has the same problems as the first one, but the level design is a little bit more enjoyable in my opinion. Also, there's a chaser for some reason, I kind of forgot to mention that part. Number 39, Lord of the Board. Show off your skateboarding skills while racing through the goal before time runs out. Although running into a wall kills any of the great fun you might have, it's fun going through City Escape with a skateboard the whole time. Makes you feel like Tony Hawk or something. Fun stage. Number 38, Chaos Control Master Level 2. Using the power of Chaos Control to reach the goal in time. Chaos Control is just a fun power to play with, and although it's my least favorite challenge in terms of, well, platforming and Chaos Control, it's still a very satisfying feeling chaining Chaos Controls together. It's mostly just the level design that bogs it down a little bit. Number 37, Ring Time Challenge 2. Very similar to the first Ring Time Challenge, but except you get more rings and more enemy spawns, which means it's more satisfying. Number 36, Death Egg Robot Panic. Unlike the hard mode, this has a lot more switches to activate these Death Egg robots, which leads to more cooler set pieces. I like this one because it's a little bit more involved than the hard mode variant. Number 35, Artificial Chaos Encounter. Also very similar to the hard mission, except there's no dumb laser wall that kills you in the beginning if you just walk forward. And there's way more of these bastards, and I don't mind killing extra. Number 34, Knuckles, Horde of Enemies. A horde of giant enemies will try to interfere with your race with Knuckles. I love the giant enemies here. It is a standard race to the finish, but the challenge is the way to figure out a way around these massive foes. It's neat and shakes up Green Hill a little bit more. You also can't kill these guys, but hey, you just kind of stun them a bit. It makes for interesting platforming. Number 33, Balloon Bonanza. Use the balloons to bounce extra height as you make your way to the goal in time. There's a lot of fun to have bouncing on these balloons, both in 2D and in 3D. The homing attack adds the amount of depth, and also has to do a lot of skips that you can pull off. I really like this mission. Number 32, Extra Tokyo Balloon Rush. This mission involves Keanu Reeves' Shadow the Hedgehog with his awkward-sounding dialogue.
I've taken on another form?
Popping balloons all around Tokyo, and you have to pop 50 to get to the goal. And I honestly found this mission pretty difficult. Not because the balloons are hard to pop, but the time limit is just really strict. One wrong step and you're not getting that S rank. Still, I like how this mission works by throwing enemies into the balloons and the satisfying shortcuts you can take. Overall, it's a tough but fun mission. Number 31, Blaze Piercing the Flames. Call Blaze to get through flames and get to the goal in time. It's a nice little challenge with these big pillar of flames, and the good news is that the detection of Blaze clearing the flames is rather large, so you don't have to immediately stop on your tracks. Though you have to be careful. She can also knock enemies out for you. This is a fun one. Number 30, Chemical Plant Act 2 Doppelganger Race. I love how open the beginning section is, and it's rewarding boosting through the right time when it comes to the design of the level. It's simple and fun. It's also rewarding to go back and get a better time increasing your skills. Number 29, Chaos Control Master Level 1. The first one is mostly just platforming and using Chaos Control at the right time. It's more enjoyable than Level 2, but aside from that, it's still more Chaos Control fun. Number 28, Endless Boost. Boost to the goal before time runs out. Unlike the other boost gauge modifiers, this one offers infinite boost at the cost of collecting no rings and, well, dying in one hit. And this mission is a good test of reflex and memory, though it can be a little unforgiving at some points. It's nice that it didn't go on for too long, that's why I really like it. Number 27, High Speed Challenge. Collect power stickers to get to the goal before time runs out. It's quite rare for Sonic games to use speed shoes in such a creative manner. It rewards good timing and speedy skills to get to the goal as fast as possible. It makes me wonder if it's possible to get an S rank without these speed shoes. Oh well, we'll see what happens. Number 26, Tails Toxic Skies. Press 1 to grab Tails' hand and fly and reach the goal within the time limit. I love how Tails is basically just makes you fly. It doesn't even get tired quickly, so it makes the level design a little bit more interesting, especially in that last section in the air with all the spikes. It's much more satisfying to complete. Number 25, Destroy the Egg Gunners. Destroy a set number of Egg Gunners and reach the goal in time. The only problem I have with this one is that I wish it was longer. There's something so rewarding about destroying all these stationary robots and throwing them to walls and throwing it into each other. Just before you think it's going to continue, it ends sadly. But I had my fun while it lasted. Number 24, Aerial Paradise. Use warp points to make your way to the goal in the allotted time. I love Sky Sanctuary at nighttime. It looks so beautiful. But anyways, the level design with using these warp points can make for some fun shortcuts. Even more enjoyable jumps that you can make. But again, I'm still taken back by that scenery. They should honestly make Sky Sanctuary at night more often. Number 23, Chaos Control Master, level 3. And unlike the other challenges, this one's in 3D space. It's definitely one of my favorite areas to play on. Again, it's so satisfying to chain these power together, and there's some nice skits that can be done if you're talented enough. Number 22, Terror from the Deep. Skim the water surface and try not to get chomped by the giant chomper. Get to the goal in time. This is a challenge you'd find somewhere in like Sonic Unleashed, running and drifting across the water like a badass and risking it all against the giant chomper. Oh, it's so fun, but also it can be a little finicky at some point, especially when drifting. Number 21, High Speed Challenge 2. Just like last High Speed Challenge, this one is also really fun. It also tests your vertical platforming too, which is a nice touch considering the last High Speed Challenge really didn't do that. Overall, it's very fun. Number 20, Dash Ring 1, 2, 3. Pass through the dash rings in order to reach the goal before time runs out. There's something so satisfying about these miniature dash rings. Maybe it's the sound or the quick burst of speed or whatever it is. I just love going through them. And that's what this challenge is all about. My only problem is that there's no margin for error. You have to pass through all these 35 rings before you can win. So good luck with that. Also, it could be weird to get to the end goal. Number 19, Vector, Pick Up the Beat. Pass the notes back and forth with Vector until the croc misses the beat. I know this one might be a hot take, but this mission is really fun. It's like playing volleyball with the coolest croc you know. It's not even that hard, and it rewards you for being up close and personal. And I do enjoy this little game. Number 18, Aqua Shield Challenge. Use the Aqua Shield to reach the goal in time. Don't know why it's not called the Bubble Shield, but we ball anyways. The elemental shields are always fun to play with classic Sonic games, and this one is no exception. And this one teaches you quite a lot of this shield, and my only complaint is that the fact that it's a very tight space. If it was more open, like underwater sections, it could have been a little bit more enjoyable. But other than that, it's a great challenge. Number 17, Overdrift. Grab as many rings as you can while drifting and get to the goal in time. Although drifting in Generation is nearly as not as fun as drifting in Unleash, it's still a fun little challenge and one of my favorite stages. It allows you to explore the highway section a little bit more, which is one of my personal favorite areas in this stage. Speaking of, number 16, Speed Highway Act 2 Doppelganger Race. This is my favorite Doppelganger race out of the 18 available stages. Maybe because Speed Highway Act 2 just makes me feel so free. There's so many cool shortcuts you can take and so many awesome set pieces that add to the flair of just running in a nightly city. God, I love this stage so much, especially that first section where you can do so many cool skips. Number 15, Surf, Sea, and Sand. Take on various courses in the way to get to the goal before time runs out. I love the many obstacles you have to run and speed through to get to the goal. First is turtles, then the water, then the cards. It's honestly really fun, and I wish it lasted a little bit longer. Number 14, Rooftop Rail Grind. Go boarding across the rooftops and clear the stage in time. I love how this forces you to go on the board in this stage, and unlike Lore of the Board, you don't lose all your speed or your board when you bump into a wall. It's a unique twist in an already pretty great stage. Number 13, Action Master. Jump, stomp, and light speed dash your way to the goal before time runs out. Similar to the one animal collecting mission for Classic Sonic, this acts as like a final test for Sonic's moveset. You'll feel really rewarded for waiting for wall jumps or stomping at a precise time and light speed dashing behind a pretty looking background of Planet Wisp. It's a really great stage. Number 12, Dash Ring 1, 2, 3, except this one is with Classic Sonic, with more dash rings and better level design. Some neat tricks here and there can make this mission pretty fun, though that one end section felt a little unnecessary. It looked cool, but it was unnecessary. Number 11, Crush with Doom Blast Hard Mode, as well as Number 10, Crush with Doom Blast. Destroy a set amount of beetles and reach the goal. Use Doom Blast for a big haul. Both of these are similar in both difficulty and satisfaction. Something so meaty about slamming a dude to a bunch of other dudes. It's just a feeling of sweet joy. I should not use the word slamming with dude and other dudes, but I don't care. This mission is fun and both these sections go either way. Number 9, Flame Shield Challenge. Use the Flame Shield to reach the goal in time. The Flame Shield is literally perfect to use in this stage. It avoids the dumb lava, and the boost of speed feels super good. Just jetting right by so many obstacles with a push the button, it feels like boosting, but in control burst, which is very fun. Number 8, Trick Island. Use the rainbow rings to pull off enough tricks to get to the goal in time. I love the trick system in Generation. It's a crime how they never brought it back. And in this stage, there's so many opportunities to trick off these rings and ramp. And the best part is using all that reward meter at the end second to boost right towards the goal. It's such a good way to reward the player. Number 7, Cream Chow Hunt. Compete with Cream to find more chow than her and reach the goal. This is my favorite character mission in the game. Not only for how unique it is, it also is a little bit challenging if you mess up a couple of times. Cream isn't a pushover. One wrong step and she'll jolt ahead of you collecting as many chow as she can. It's fun if you're winning, and it's not unfair if you lose. Honestly, it should have been an optional multiplayer mode. Number 6, Dash Ring Rush to level 1. Collect a set number of Dash Rings for to reach the goal in time. And Number 5, Dash Ring Rush, level 2. Both these missions are better than the ones in the base game just because of Shadow's movements. You'll understand how much fun with an extra double jump this is. Boosting through the air with more control, with more varied camera angles, can do justice for a mission like this. Again, I just wish that some of these missions were longer. This one is just so good to be too short. Number 4, Thunder Shield Challenge. Use the Thunder Shield to reach the goal in time. The Thunder Shield is my favorite skill in the game, and it's not even close. And like the last one, a double jump makes platforming so much more enjoyable and interesting. And adding electrical properties for obstacles makes this pretty interesting in terms of level design. Overall, it's an amazing challenge with a great reward. Number 3, Drill Baby Drill. Smash your way through boxes as you descend to the goal before time runs out. Easily my favorite Modern Sonic mission. Just the use of the stomping of these boxes and avoiding the carefully put spike balls is enough for me to enjoy every second of this mission. The time allotted isn't even strict or anything, it's just fun regardless. Overall, it's just a nice mix-up of the famous running down the building set piece. It's a nice touch. It's my favorite Modern Sonic mission, and I kinda wish it was longer. Number 2, Chaos Control Master, Hard Mode. This is my favorite child mission in the game. The amount of effort you need to chain these chaos controls together is nothing short of pure endorphins. The stage requires a lot of coordination and great timing, and it never feels unfair. Just raw skill with one of my favorite mechanics in a Sonic game. And number 1, with your powers combined. Use the Aqua, Thunder, and Flame Shield to get to the goal in time. This mission is awesome. It's just a simple concept that I'm surprised hasn't been done before. Using each of the elemental shields to find the right answer to move forward is just so smart. And the level design just adds so much to that charm. It's weird how Planet Wisp Act 1 is my least favorite stage in the game, but it holds my favorite challenge act in the game. But I mean, just using these shields is naturally fun in any game that is. At least for me. And that is my favorite challenge act in the entire game. But overall, I just think these missions are just fun little distractions and test the player in certain gameplay mechanics or changing the level design. But my personal opinion, these challenge acts are kind of underwhelming. 18 of them are just running through the exact same stage as you did, but the only difference is that there's no collectibles and you're under a time limit to get an S rank. And some of the friend-specific missions are just kind of boring, gimmicky, or just plain on fun. But there are some good ones, like the ones that actually grant you a skill by completing the mission, or ones that actually help you practice basic mechanics. Heck, all the Shadow missions are pretty enjoyable aside of a few stingers here and there. But in the end, I'm glad there's more to do than just speed through the stages, and I hope future Sonic games continue these type of challenge acts to further test the player for generations to come. And no, Forces doesn't count. These challenge acts are not that good. And if you have a different opinion, you already know where to find me. comment section, and also now on Blue Sky. But yeah, see you in the next video. Oh god, this video is so long. I'm done with Sonic X Generations, alright? I'm tired of it.